You guys already know that North Naperville Autos is the #1 dealer of used cars in the Chicagoland area, but they are now offering shipping on all of their online purchases. That's right, if you buy a car at North Naperville Autos online, it'll be shipped directly to your front door. Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving a 2007 Lexus IS 250 all-wheel drive. Up front is a 2.5-liter V6, and down below is a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, I'm super excited to be driving this here IS for a couple of reasons. I've been doing a lot of Lexus reviews recently, but also last year I drove a first-gen Lexus IS chassis, the IS 300, and so we'll be doing a little bit of comparing and contrasting to that vehicle, as well as 2 years ago I drove an ISF, actually 2 ISFs. So I've driven the performance version of this car, I've driven the previous generation of this car, but I haven't done a 250 yet, and so today is my chance. Before we get on with anything else, I have a website, zackpraedel.com, where you can buy stickers like this retro sticker pack I have available for just $10 with free shipping, as well as I have a behind-the-scenes blog where you can see the vehicles I'm reviewing before I post them here on the channel, and you could submit your own vehicle to be reviewed by me through a quick and easy submission form. But let's get back to that 2.5-liter V6 under the hood. Well, it makes about 205 horsepower, which isn't anything too crazy, but I think it's fine. This is the second generation of the IS platform, like I said, and it gets the V6 where the first gen actually got an inline 6, so slightly different switch up there. I think this engine's okay. It's not anything remarkable. It's not anything spectacular. It does the job, and we'll talk about my thoughts on the car's performance as a whole towards the end of the video. Like I said, paired to it is a 6-speed automatic transmission. What's interesting about this particular automatic 6-speed that they put into the IS 250 is that it is gear for gear, ratio for ratio, the exact same transmission you would find in the very first gen Scion FRS, which I recently reviewed one of those as well. So it is the exact same transmission as those vehicles. Pretty interesting. And again, like the engine, it's pretty nonchalant. It works, it does the job, and I don't have any complaints. However, you could have found these up until 2012 with manual transmissions. Now, a manual transmission IS 250 is about as rare as getting your food on time at a Steak and Shake, but you could find them. However, as I went through the online Lexus forums, it seems as though there's a common complaint that the 6-speed manual transmission is pretty much a dog. No one really likes it all that much. Apparently, they sat on dealer lots for a very long time, and thus in 2012, Lexus discontinued manual transmissions, taking the IS 250 with it. Last but not least, interestingly enough, this is all-wheel drive. So contrary to the first gen, you could find these in all-wheel drive like this one is, and that's very, very nice, especially for the Midwest here. We get tons of snow each year. It's just nice to have a little bit more confidence in your vehicle. With all that being said, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have two main gauges. On the left is the speedometer and fuel, and on the right is the tachometer and coolant temperature. And in the center, I do get a little digital readout. I really like the look of the gauges. They're quoted as looking like lightsabers, and while I don't 100% agree with that, I could see where that's coming from, and I overall like the futuristic look. I think it holds up really, really well. Even 15 years later, where digital gauge clusters reign king, these still look presentable, modern, and good. On the steering wheel on the left, I have my volume and skip track as well as mode, and on the right, I have my display button for that tiny little screen in the gauge cluster. I also have paddle shifters around the back if that's something I'd like to use, and I think the overall steering wheel looks pretty good. Off to the left, I have a bunch of dead switches, as well as down below, I have releases for the fuel door and trunk. And on the door, way down low, below my kneecap, is the power mirrors, power locks, and power windows. Again, this says all auto, just like the 2007 GS that I just drove, and I think it looks really, really tacky here in a Lexus. I feel like Lexus owners would be smart enough to know that these are all automatic, or at least learn through trial and error, and just pasting it on there in this big white text doesn't make me feel the best. Moving into the center, I do have two climate control vents, and my climate controls themselves. Something to note here is that there is no touchscreen for the climate controls like the two ISFs that I drove from 2008 and 2010. This is all physical buttons, which I really, really like because I don't have the fear of a screen failing, and then now I can't change my climate controls. Really like that. Same goes for the radio. I do have 6 different favorites, as well as text and ASL and PCell. Interesting there. And I have a little digital clock down below in the hazard switch. Then I do have more radio buttons for volume, AM, FM, disc, and scan. Pretty simple there. And moving on to the center console, I do get an openable ashtray. Heated and ventilated seats. Pretty interesting to see that in the IS250. However, I'm pleasantly enjoying the heated seats this morning. And then we have the shifter itself. It's the typical Toyota jigsaw shifter you'll find in pretty much every car from this era, and they still use it to this day in some vehicles. Then we do have a teeny tiny little cup holder, so we'll do a real quick big friggin' bottle test, but as you can imagine, it does not pass. Then I do get a center console, very easy to open and slide, and there's also a 12-volt outlet found in there, which is nice. And then moving on to the seats, like I said, they are power, they are heated, and they are ventilated, which are very, very nice features. But speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a backseat review. All right, so we're in the back of the 2007 Lexus IS 250, and a couple of things to note. First of all, the space back here is not fantastic. It is a little bit cramped. Now the IS it's not the smallest chassis you could have gotten from Lexus, but in terms of sedans, it was pretty low in the range. There was this tiny little one, I forget the name of. It looks like a swagged out Toyota Echo. I don't remember which that is, and I'll put the name up too. I'm just escaping my mind right now. So that's way smaller. But in terms of like luxury sedans, this was pretty small. And so you feel that definitely with the back seats here. I'm sitting and my knees are hitting the seat in front of me. It's not uncomfortable. It's not the worst vehicle in the world, but definitely if you go up to the ES or GS or LS, of course, you're going to have more and more leg room as you go up the stages. Headroom is actually okay. I'm 5'11" and not touching the ceiling. I do have cup holders that come out of this center console here. The seats themselves are decently comfortable. I have 2 speakers on the door. I have auto windows. It's not the worst place to be. I'm just saying if you really require good backseat space, I'd highly recommend the ES, GS, or LS. With all that being said, let's go take a quick look at the trunk, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Lexus IS 250, and you can come here, hold it on the remote. It'll pop the trunk a little bit, and then you could just pull it up. Opening the trunk here, we do have some nice storage on either side here, some nice little storage pads. I also have this nice Lexus mat, and I can pull this up, and we do get a spare tire. Of course, they paint it yellow to shame you into just getting a new tire. I also have, as you can see, a pass-through. So there's a door right here, and you can pass skis or 2x4s or long anything through that door, which is nice, into the rear passenger compartment if you are hauling some lumber or skis or something like that. Decent sized trunk, especially for this size of vehicle. It's not the biggest trunk I've ever seen in the world, but definitely super adequate. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I really like the look of the IS 250. I think it's a sharp looking car. I like the wheel design too. I think it all looks pretty sporty, pretty agile, pretty cutting edge at least, or especially for 2007, where a lot of things were still pretty blobby. I mean, look at the same year Avalon, and then cut back to this. However, like I said, I've reviewed 2 Lexus ISFs, the big old 5-liter V8s. And I said in that video, at least my 2008 video, that it looks nearly indistinguishable from an IS 250. And now that I've grown and matured, I stick by that 100%. Screw you guys. That being said, I like the look of both of them. I think they both look good. I just think that the performance version didn't look that much different. Whatever, it's a strange hill, but it's a strange hill that I'll die on, and you can't change my mind. But with that being said, let's get to my final thoughts here on the IS 250. Well, I have 2 different schools of thought when it comes to this car. First of all, like I've been saying, I reviewed a first gen IS 300. I loved that car. You could get them in manual. It came with the 2JZ straight 6, a very stout, very reliable, very easy to build engine. It looked fantastic. There was a sport wagon version. That is a tuner car, and I loved that car, and I know you guys did too. And so moving up to the second gen, no more sport wagon. No more 2JZ, no more only rear-wheel drive. It seems as though the IS, soon after it debuted in '99, lost its way with this car. This is nothing like the first gen. And so for a tuner car, I have to say that this is a disappointment. However, the other school of thought is that this is a really good used car. I am a broken record this last month because I've been reviewing so many old Lexus and Toyota products, and I keep saying, best used car, fantastic used car, great purchase, all of these things. But it's true, these older Lexus products, for a daily driver, this car is fantastic. It's small and it's nimble. It's not nearly as big as a GS or ES, and heaven forbid the LS. The 2.5 V6 makes decent power. It's a small V6 and makes 200 horsepower. You can get all-wheel drive, which is perfect for the Midwest here. It looks sharp, looks great in my opinion. And if you really want a performance version of this chassis, you can go up to the 8-speed, 5-liter V8 ISF. That's still an option here. Now, those still go for a premium, for sure, but at least it was an option. And so that's my true thoughts on this. No, it isn't like the first gen, but I think it's okay to leave the first gen ISs in the past. They're great cars. They'll continue to be a highly utilized chassis when it comes to motorsports, and I'll still have love in my heart for them, but this is just something different. And as soon as you start accepting that, the quicker you can realize how good this car really is for a daily driver or just a comfortable car to own. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to North Naperville Autos for letting me take out their IS250. They are absolutely awesome. They offer nationwide shipping. They are Carfax certified, and they do offer financing as well, which is just fantastic. I'd highly recommend browsing through their inventory on their website, which is linked in the description below. They have tons of old Toyotas and Lexus products, and you can get out there and drive some and figure out why I keep raving about these cars so much, because they really are fantastic, and North Naperville Autos has a few of them. So I can't recommend them enough. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.